You know what stings more than arthritis at 6 a.m.? Being forgotten. Being invisible to the very people you spent your life loving, raising, and sacrificing for. My name's Walter, 82 years old, Vietnam vet, retired postmaster, proud grandfather of 3, or at least I was. Until they ghosted me. Not a call. Not a text. Not even a cheesy Christmas card. But I'll tell you what, life has a funny way of serving justice. This is the story of how I went from being the lonely old man they thought they could ignore, to the headline of their biggest regret. And yes, the waitress? She calls me Papa now. So grab your coffee, hit that like button, subscribe for more wild family stories, and tell me in the comments, would you have done what I did? It started with my 80th birthday. Big milestone, right? I even shaved my nose hairs for the occasion. I cleaned the house, baked my famous cornbread muffins, even wore that scratchy green sweater my late wife always said made me look less grumpy. And I waited. 4 hours. Not one grandkid showed up. Not Sam, not Brittany, not even little Noah, the one who used to draw me stick figure cards and call me Grampy the Great. Instead, I got a group text 2 days later. Sorry, been slammed. Happy belated birthday, Grandpa. Love ya. Love ya. Really? Like I'm a Facebook acquaintance. Thanksgiving was always sacred in our family. Turkey, stuffing, my famous green bean casserole that Sam once said should be illegal because it's that good. This year, I didn't even get an invite. I found out from Facebook, yes, Facebook, that they were all together at Brittany's house. Matching outfits, pumpkin pie, big smiles. And there I was, microwaving frozen mashed potatoes and watching the Macy's parade reruns like some sad cliché. No call. No leftover pie. Not even a damn emoji. That night, I sat in my recliner, staring at the dusty family photos on the mantel. I realized something. They'd moved on. And worse, they didn't care that I hadn't. Every Tuesday, I eat at Mel's Diner. Not because the food's gourmet, it's definitely not. But because of her. Jamie. Early 30s, works 2 jobs, raising a son alone. Always calls me Mr. Walter, always remembers how I like my eggs, over medium, crispy bacon, rye toast no butter. That Tuesday, she noticed I looked down. She sat in my booth for a second, just 1 minute off the clock. Bad day, Mr. Walter? She asked. I told her about the birthday, the ghosting, the microwaved potatoes. She didn't offer clichés, just sat there, listening. Family can suck sometimes, she said with a sad smile. But you're not alone. Not as long as I'm on shift. That was the moment. The first real kindness I'd felt in a long time. And it stuck. 2 weeks later, I get a text from Sam. Hey Gramps, hope you're good. Any chance we can borrow your truck for the weekend? Moving some stuff. THX. So now I exist. I replied. Sorry, I sold it. He replied in all caps. What? You sold it? That truck was supposed to be passed down. Passed down? To who? The ghost of Christmas disappointments? Brittany jumped in next. Wait, is this about the birthday thing? You're being super petty, RN. We're just busy, Grandpa. Busy. Too busy for a 2-minute phone call. But not too busy to send a tantrum text about a truck. That night, I pulled out my will, blew the dust off, grabbed a pen, scribbled a note to my lawyer. We need to talk. Mr. Halvorsen has been my lawyer for 22 years. Stoic man. Wears bow ties. Never smiles. Until I told him I wanted to leave everything to a waitress. Mr. Whitaker, he said, blinking hard. Are you absolutely certain? She's family to me. More than blood. He adjusted his glasses. Then let's make it legal. And just like that, Janie, the waitress from booth 6, became the sole beneficiary of my estate. My house. My savings. My pension. My classic record collection. All of it. When Christmas rolled around, I didn't decorate. No tree. No lights. No carols. But I did wrap one gift, a small velvet box containing my late wife's wedding ring. I gave it to Janie, over hash browns and burnt coffee. I want you to have this, I said. It's not much, but she'd have liked you. You're good to people. That's rare. She cried. Said she'd treasure it forever. Meanwhile, Brittany sent a group text. Hey Gramps, we're doing a last-minute Secret Santa. Can you send $100 for gift exchange? I got stuck with Noah. No, Merry Christmas. No call. Just a cash request. His name's Dylan. 9 years old. Freckles. Quiet. Wears hand-me-downs 2 sizes too big. He drew me a picture one day. Crayon sketch of us fishing. Mom says you're like my bonus grandpa, he said. That hit different. I bought him a second-hand bike, tuned it up myself. Watching him ride circles in Mel's parking lot brought me more joy than 1,000 fake family Zoom calls. Word eventually got out. I think the lawyer sent a notice for legal reasons. Brittany was the first to call, screaming, "You're leaving everything to some waitress? Are you insane? We're your family." Family shows up, I said. You showed up for my bank account, not my birthday. You're being vindictive. I'm being intentional. She hung up, sent a long email later, full of excuses and all-caps guilt trips. I replied with a link to Janie's GoFundMe for Dylan's dental surgery. No response. Sam drove to my house unannounced. Parked in my driveway like he owned the place. Gramps, come on, he said. You really gonna cut us out like this? Over a few missed dinners. You think this is about dinners? It's about decades. I raised you better than this. You just stopped looking back. He didn't argue, just stared at his shoes. Then he asked, can I at least have the record player? I shook my head. It's already spinning in Janie's living room. I wrote one final letter. Left copies for each of my grandkids with the lawyer. It started with, if you're reading this, you're probably mad. But take a breath. This isn't about punishment. It's about peace. I told them I loved them, but I wouldn't reward neglect. I found family in an unexpected place, in someone who showed up without wanting anything in return. I hoped they'd learn something. Maybe one day, they'll stop by Mel's. Janie will serve them eggs, Dylan will be reading in the corner. And maybe they'll understand. A local reporter did a fluff piece on the diner, People of the Plate, something light-hearted. They asked to photograph regulars. Janie nudged me into it. A week later, there we were in print. Me, Janie, and Dylan, sitting in booth 6. Caption, found family, regular patron calls diner his second home. That's when things blew up. Brittany posted it on Instagram with the caption, guess Grandpa traded blood for breakfast. I didn't respond, but I noticed hundreds of likes, dozens of comments, most of them saying, good for him. 2 months later, my old war buddy, Carl, passed. I asked the grandkids if they wanted to go with me. No one replied. Janie went instead. Even wore black. Held my arm during the service. Afterward, we ate greasy burgers and shared stories about Carl. She laughed at my terrible impressions. Dylan asked 100 questions. Later that night, I sat on my porch and realized, this wasn't temporary. This was real family. She called me out of nowhere. Okay, Grandpa, real talk. If you don't change the will, we're done. Don't expect a deathbed visit. I paused, then said, I already stopped expecting years ago. That's what saved me. Click. No more messages after that. Dylan turned 10. Janie threw a party in the park. Balloons, cupcakes, hot dogs. He ran up to me, holding a card. Inside was a drawing of the 3 of us and a big heart. You're the best grandpa I've ever had, it said. I choked up. Couldn't even speak. That card now sits on my mantle, right where the grandkids' old photos used to be. 6 weeks later, I got the legal notice. My grandkids were contesting the will. Undue influence, they claimed. Mental incompetence. Funny, I was sharp enough to remember every missed birthday, every ignored holiday, every call that never came. My lawyer was calm. We'll handle it. You just keep living your life. Janie brought me pie that night. Dylan offered to teach me Minecraft. Let them fight, I thought. I've already won. The hearing was surreal. Brittany wore designer sunglasses inside. Sam looked like he hadn't slept in days. Noah wasn't there at all. Their lawyer claimed Janie had manipulated me, that she preyed on my emotional vulnerability. I stood, looked the judge straight in the eye. Your Honor, I may be old, but I'm not stupid. What's more manipulative, kindness from a stranger, or abandonment from family? There was a pause. Janie squeezed my hand under the table. I felt stronger than I had in years. You know what they say, blood is thicker than water. But love's thicker than either. I watched Dylan help a stray kitten at the diner one morning. No prompting, no reward, just pure heart. He reminded me of young Sam, back before college and ego replaced compassion. If I could go back, I would have spent more time teaching kindness instead of just discipline. But it's not too late for Dylan. We celebrated the end of the court case with root beer floats. The judge had ruled in my favor. Every document upheld. Every accusation dismissed. Sam texted me later, "You really did it, huh?" I replied, "I did what you taught me. I looked out for myself." No reply after that. Dylan and I built a birdhouse that afternoon. He painted it blue. We watched the birds fight over it like it was prime real estate. "They're like your kids," he laughed. "Yeah," I said, only louder. Out of nowhere, I got an invite. Brittany was pregnant, hosting a big shower, wanted to make peace. I didn't go. I sent a card, though. Inside was a check for $25 and a note, "Spend it on something that makes the baby smile. Don't expect anything more." It was firm, but fair. Boundaries, something I should have learned to set years ago. Janie had professional photos taken. Me, Dylan, her, and the kitten, all standing in front of the old oak tree behind the diner. She framed one and gave it to me for Father's Day. It now sits where my old wedding photo used to be, not out of disrespect, but out of healing. Because life is chapters. And mine, it's not over yet. Noah knocked on my door one rainy evening. Taller now, older, but still had that same hesitant look he wore when he broke my garage window at 10. "Hi, Grandpa," he said. I let him in. No questions. He didn't want money, just to talk. I didn't know how to stand up to them, he said, eyes down. "I missed you. I just didn't know how to come back." I told him something my father once told me. It's never too late to be decent. We talked for hours, and when he left, he hugged me tighter than I expected. Maybe there was hope after all. Mel's was struggling. Inflation, rent hikes, rising costs. Janie didn't say anything, but I noticed the tighter portions, the dimmed lights, the way she stretched coffee grounds one day too long. So I pulled a few strings, called in favors, organized a community fundraiser. Veterans, retirees, school teachers, everyone showed up. Live music, pie contests, raffle tickets. We raised enough to cover 3 months of overhead. Janie cried into her apron. "You saved my second home," she whispered. "No," I smiled. "You gave me mine." I updated the will again. This time, I included Dylan's education fund. Locked in trust, accessible when he turns 18. I also added a line, "To Noah Whitaker, should he continue to act with heart and integrity, a share shall be restored." My lawyer looked surprised. Change of heart. No, I said. Evidence of his. It came via voicemail. 3 minutes long. Choked up. Scattered. She said she was sorry for the years lost, for the selfishness, for forgetting I was still alive while she was chasing her own life. I didn't call her back, but I saved the voicemail. Some wounds aren't meant to be poked, but some bandages don't need to be ripped off either. Dylan and I built a wooden bench under the oak tree behind the diner. We engraved the backrest, for the ones who show up. That's all I ever wanted. And now, every morning, I sit there, coffee in hand, cat on lap, the sounds of life bustling around me. Not bitter. Not lonely. Just full. The room was packed again. My lawyer, Sandra, stood with a manila envelope clutched tightly in her hand. This second reading isn't just ceremonial, she said, voice crisp. It's legally binding. There were conditions in the first will that had to be fulfilled. Most were not. I sat in the front row next to Ellie, who was holding my hand like it was a lifeline. Her cheeks were red from nerves, but her spine? Straight as a rail. She was ready. Sandra cleared her throat. To my grandsons, Blake and Jordan, you were to contact me within 30 days of the original reading to express remorse and intent to rebuild the relationship you discarded. Silence. You did not. Therefore, the conditional bequests revert back to the secondary recipient. Gasps. Angry mutters. She continued. To Ellie Mae Grant, waitress, caregiver, friend, and family when others chose not to be, the entirety of the estate, minus a few small charitable gifts, is now yours. Chairs scraped, voices raised. Blake shouted. You're kidding me. That nobody. That gold digger. I stood up. No. Blake. That somebody who held my hand when none of you returned my calls. That somebody who brought me soup when I had the flu. That somebody who looked at me like I mattered. He stormed out. Jordan followed. The story hit local news. Then national. Headlines like Grandpa cuts off entitled Grandkids, leaves fortune to Waitress, and Waffle House angel inherits millions. Ellie handled it with grace. She refused most interviews, donated anonymously to the senior center I used to visit, and declined reality TV offers. Me. I enjoyed watching the chaos from my recliner. I sipped chamomile tea and read the comments section with popcorn. Some people thought I was cruel. Others called me a hero. But the best comments, they were from other old folks saying, I'm rewriting my will today. 3 months later, my daughter knocked on my door. She looked tired, older than I remembered. Dad, I was wrong. About so much. We sat, talked, cried a little. I didn't change the will, but I did invite her to Sunday dinners again. Not because she earned it, but because I hoped maybe one day she would. Blake and Jordan, still ghosts. I moved in with Ellie, believe it or not. Not like that. Calm down. We bought a big house with a wraparound porch and a garden that exploded with tomatoes. She took the master suite. I took the guest room. We watched Jeopardy every night and planted marigolds in the spring. And I slept soundly knowing my story wasn't about revenge. It was about value. If you're listening, wondering if you should reach out to your grandma, or your dad, or your neighbor who raised you, do it. Before they're gone. Before the waitress gets the will. And if you're the one being ghosted, don't let it rot your soul. Let it set you free. I'm not the villain here. I'm not even the hero. I'm just a man who learned, too late, that love doesn't come with titles. It comes with actions. Like share and subscribe if this story made you think twice. Because family isn't always blood.